Welcome to the Depth Dive. Today, we are jumping right into it. We're talking about maybe the most anticipated crew battle in, well, all of anime.
Yeah, it definitely feels that way. A clash that could genuinely, you know, shape the fate of the world. Huge stakes.
Absolutely huge. So for this deep dive, our mission is pretty clear. We're looking at this hypothetical, full-on crew showdown. Straw Hats versus Blackbeard pirates.
That's the one. We've looked at some really interesting source material, and we're basically going to break down the potential matchups, member by member, see what the analysis suggests about who might actually win.
And it really matters, doesn't it? I mean, as the story gets closer to the final saga, this isn't just about who's stronger.
No, not at all. It's a clash of ideologies.
Yeah,
Fundamentally.
exactly. You've got Luffy's crew all about freedom, dreams, that kind of thing. And then Blackbeard's crew, driven by chaos, power, domination. It's like philosophies battling it out through these characters.
Totally. And what's cool about the analysis we looked at is how it pairs them up. It's not just random.
Right, it's based on their roles, isn't it? Like their power types.
Yeah, roles, powers, even like the narrative buildup that's already there gives a structured way to think about this huge fight.
Yeah.
It goes beyond just, power levels.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. It considers the dynamics. So are we ready to get into the specific pairings?
Let's do it. Where better to start than the top? Captain versus captain.
All right, so Monkey D. Luffy, he's got Gear 5 now, that mythical Nika fruit, total cartoonish freedom, messing with his body, the environment.
Plus the Hadaki, advanced hockey mastery, big bursts of spiritual energy.
Yep. And he's up against Marshall D. Teach, Blackbeard.
The guy with 2 devil fruits. That's still wild.
Seriously. The Yami Yami no Mi darkness, gravity control,
Okay.
and the Gurgara no Mi, those insane quakes.
It's a proper clash of titans, like you said.
Yeah.
Opposing forces, really. Luffy's all about liberation, joy, chaotic good, maybe.
Yeah, something like that. While Blackbeard is just darkness, destruction, a different kind of chaos, pulling everything into a void.
And the source material, it really leans into Luffy's Gear 5 and his Conqueror's Haki. Calls him unpredictable, cartoonishly powerful, full of heart.
Yeah, okay.
Blackbeard, though, with those 2 fruits, he looks unstoppable. On paper, at least.
And this is where I thought it got really interesting. The sources kept calling Blackbeard sloppy.
Yeah, that comes up.
It's not just like a personality quirk. The analysis seems to imply that in a fight this big, that sloppiness is a direct counter to his raw power.
Interesting. Like a narrative hint.
Yeah.
Precision versus raw force.
Exactly. Like maybe intention or even character matters more than just brute strength. The conclusion was pretty confident if it's Joy Boy versus the Void Spawn.
Then Luffy takes it.
Yeah. The analysis firmly gives it to Luffy.
Okay, wow. All right, moving down the line then. The swordsman.
Right. Straw Hat's first mate, Roanoa Zoro, he's got Enma, that legendary blade, and his King of Hell mode. Serious power boost.
And he's facing Shiryu of the Rain, Blackbeard's guy, who has the Suke no Mai, total invisibility.
Oof. Invisibility plus brutality. Sounds terrifying. You'd think that's almost an unbeatable advantage.
You would think. But Zoro, the source kept saying Zoro fights with instinct. After facing guys like King, training with Mihawk, Shiryu is apparently just, quote, another stepping stone.
Huh. So the main challenge is just hitting him.
Yeah, basically landing a hit on someone you can't see. But Zoro's got that advanced observation, Habaki, right? He can sense presence, intent.
Ah, okay. So even with the invisibility trick.
The analysis points to Zoro winning that one, securing the win.
All right. Next up, we've got speed versus, well, unique movement.
Yeah, Vinsmoke Sanji. Genetically enhanced, super tough exoskeleton, and those fiery Ifrit Jambe kicks.
Flames and power, yeah. He's against Van Augur, the Blackbeard sniper.
Who can teleport, the warp fruit.
Sanji's noted as, like, the fastest straw hat, right? And incredibly durable now.
Augur's teleporting is great for range, for dodging.
Yeah.
But the sources suggest he lacks close combat skills. Big time.
Ah, so tactical. Sanji just needs to close the distance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The breakdown says Sanji would close that gap and finish it. So, another win for the Straw Hats here.
But wait, this is the one that fans argue about, right? The sniper matchup.
Oh, yeah, the source material definitely brings that up. Some fans argue this should be the real matchup, Usopp versus Van Augur.
Because, yeah, sniper versus sniper makes sense. Invisibility or teleporting versus a long-range guy like Usopp. That's tactically interesting.
It really is. You've got Augur with better aim, presumably, and that game-changing teleportation.
Versus Usopp, who's all about strategy, tricks, surprise shots, those unique pop greens and stuff from his slingshot.
But The analysis does kind of concede in the end. It says, unless Usopp awakens his observation Hamaki to a much higher degree or gets a big upgrade, he's simply outgunned.
Ah, okay. So in this hypothetical scenario.
Van Augur takes it,
Yeah.
according to this breakdown.
Gotcha. Okay, next.
Yeah.
The tricksters.
Yeah. Nami for the Straw Hats.
Yeah.
She's got Zeus now, right? That Thundercloud homie from Big Mom.
Yep. Fused with her Climatact. So massive weather control, lightning storms.
And she's up against Katarina Devon, who has the mythical zone, the nine-tailed fox fruit, shape-shifting.
Nami's power with Zeus is seriously potent now. Big area attacks.
True, but Devon is described as ruthless and deceptive, using that shape-shifting to trick people, infiltrate.
So it's brains versus, well, brains and deception.
Kind of. The source suggests that unless Nami gets some kind of, elemental upgrade, or wins purely through a complex mind game.
She's at a disadvantage.
A significant one, yeah.
Yeah.
It seems Devon's ruthlessness and trickery give her the edge. Victory for Blackbeard's crew on this one.
Okay. What about the doctors?
Right. Tony Chopper, his Monster Point transformation, that huge, powerful form, plus he's a genius doctor.
Against Doc Q, who has the sick fruit, spreads diseases with a touch. That sounds awful.
It's genuinely horrifying, yeah. Chopper is strong, smart, determined, especially protecting his friends.
But Doc Q can just infect him with anything.
Pretty much. The source says Chopper would need to outsmart him with antidotes extremely fast, or risk losing the fight due to illness.
That sounds really tough. Near impossible in a fight.
Yeah. Unfortunately, given how insidious that power is, the prediction is Doc Q wins this. Highlights how uniquely dangerous Blackbeard's crew abilities are.
Definitely. Okay, next up. Stealth and mystery versus awakened power.
Exactly. Nico Robin, the archaeologist. Her Hananomi is awakened now, sprouting body parts anywhere. And that terrifying demonio fleur form.
Yeah, that giant demonic form is intense. Who's she facing?
Lafitte, stealth master, hypnotist. A lot of his powers are still kind of unknown, which adds to the mystique.
Lafitte's definitely croupy, silent, hypnotic. Seems like a tricky opponent.
You'd think so. But Robin has become, quote, a monster in her own right, literally.
Yeah, fair enough.
The analysis says with her awakened powers creating huge clones, giant limbs, and her ruthless efficiency, she can basically trap and crush Lafitte before he even gets close.
Wow. Okay, decisive. Robin takes it then.
Looks like it, which brings us to a battle of just sheer scale.
Ah, Frankie. The shipwright? Walking battleship? General Frankie Mech? Radical beam? Heavy armor.
Facing San Juan Wolf, whose devil fruit power makes him gigantic, like island-sized.
Yeah, the scale there is just absurd. Frankie's a super machine, but San Juan Wolf is literally the size of an island. How do you even fight that?
Exactly. The source is pretty blunt here. Unless Frankie finds a way to sink a literal mountain of a man, this one goes to Blackbeard's Colossus.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Hard to argue with literal island size. Clear win for San Juan Wolf.
Demonstrates that Blackbeard has literal giants on his side, yeah.
Okay, next, Brook, the Soul King.
Right. Unique ice powers from his soul, super precise swordplay, freezing cuts.
Against Avalo Pizarro, the corrupt king. He controls terrain with the island fruit, merging with landscapes.
Yeah, he could basically become the island they're fighting on, manipulate the entire environment.
Brook's fast, his soul powers are weird and deadly, he can slice buildings.
True, but Pizarro can merge with the whole landscape. The analysis asks the key question, can Brook destroy the whole island?
Probably not.
The answer given is no. Implying Pizarro's ability to just be the battlefield is too much, too vast an opponent for Brook to handle.
So Pizarro takes that one too. Another for Blackbeard.
Seems so. Okay, finally, rounding out the main crew matchups.
Jimby, Knight of the Sea, Fishman Karate Master, manipulating water, plus his Hataki.
Squaring off against Jesus Burgess, Blackbeard strongman. Pure brute strength, amplified by the buff fruit now, right?
Yeah.
Enhances his muscles.
So strength versus technique, basically.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Jinbi's calm, strategic Fishman karate is presented as, the perfect counter to Burgess's more mindless strength.
Okay, like redirecting force.
Exactly. The source highlights that Jinbi uses his opponent's power against them, a classic martial arts principle. Thinks Jinbi's experience and cleverness went out.
Makes sense. Jinbi takes it.
Yep, that's the prediction.
Yeah.
So, after going through all 10 of those potential matchups, the final tally from the source material is, it's interesting.
Yeah, it really is. So if we count them up, Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, Robin, Jinbi. That's 5 predicted wins for the Straw Hats.
Right. And then Van Augur, Katarina Devon, Duck, Q, San Juan Wolf, and Avalo Pizarro. That's 5 predicted wins for the Blackbeard Pirates.
Which means it's a 5-5 draw.
Exactly. A dead heat, according to this analysis, purely based on individual matchups and powers.
Which is fascinating, right? It suggests the battle could genuinely swing either way just based on who's stronger in each fight. It's not obvious.
No, not at all. But then, and this is where the source material really shifts gears, and I think it's the most crucial part.
Yeah.
It pivots immediately. It says, look, this war won't be decided by strength alone.
Ah, so it goes beyond the power levels.
Way beyond. It suggests the clash will actually be decided by things like purpose, fate, and the will of D.
Purpose, fate, and the will of D, that's deep. That's a huge distinction from just counting wins and losses in fights.
It absolutely is. That's like the core takeaway the analysis wants us to get. The individual powers matter, sure, but these grander narrative forces are what truly count.
Destiny, the crew's mission, maybe the nature of the D initial itself, that's what will actually decide who wins.
That's the implication. It connects it all back to the bigger picture of One Piece. And the analysis concludes with this powerful, almost unquantifiable idea.
Which is?
Luffy's crew always rises when it matters most.
Yeah.
It hints at this resilience, maybe a narrative destiny. Call it plot armor if you want.
Yeah.
That goes beyond the power levels we just talked about.
It's about what they represent, not just what they can do.
Exactly.
Wow. That's it. Yeah, that's an incredible thought to end on. So, okay, thinking about all that, the detailed matchups, the strengths, the weaknesses, but also this idea of purpose, fate, and will. It leaves you wondering, right? What unquantifiable factors do you, listening right now, think would actually tip the scales in a fight like this? How do these abstract things, purpose, fate, actually show up in the middle of a battle?
Yeah, what's the secret ingredient? When everything else seems balanced, what pushes one side over the top?
Something to really chew on. What is it that makes the difference when it truly matters?